In a mountain village terrorized by a powerful beast named Fenrir, the desperate villagers spend their savings to hire an elite SS-class adventurer team to defeat it. The elite team, called Flame Dragon Fang, includes highly skilled members, except for Kurt, who only does chores and hides during battles. Ironically, the monster targets him first and throws him aside. The rest of the team springs into action. Bandana tries to restrain Fenrir but gets injured. Thanks to healing magic, she recovers and helps Ganova finish off the beast with a cursed sword. The villagers throw a celebratory feast for the adventurers, but Ganova mocks their food and tells Kurt to cook something better. Bandana hints it'll be Kurt's last time cooking for them. Kurt is confused. Ganova tells him he's fired because he's useless in battle. Since parties are limited to 4 members, they want someone stronger. Kurt begs to stay, but Ganova kicks him and coldly confirms the decision is final. Kurt is forced out of the party. Kurt wanders into the city of Samaela, broke and hungry. Desperate, he enters a temp job agency hoping to find work. The receptionist welcomes Kurt and begins the intake process, starting with basic information and a background check. Kurt reveals his age, hometown, and previous work experience with the Flame Dragon Fang, and even if it was just chores. This surprises the receptionist. She tells Kurt that even minor experience with such a famous party can help him find work, giving him hope. However, Kurt fails his skill test badly. All of his combat abilities are G rank, the lowest possible level. Kurt loses hope, but the receptionist encourages him to test for trade skills instead. Unfortunately, the specialist is unavailable and he must return next week. Kurt is desperate. He only has enough money for 1 more loaf of bread. The receptionist suggests he try lifting a magical sandbag to test strength. Though the sandbag drains his mana, Kurt manages to lift it. Impressed, the receptionist refers him to a construction job under Master Lock. Kurt goes to the foreman, who doubts Kurt can do the heavy lifting, but lets him try anyway since help is needed. Kurt is tasked with mixing and applying cement. He wonders why no one mentioned using mana to strengthen it, but assumes it's standard. Kurt finishes more than required, impressing the foreman. Kurt apologizes for not doing more, thinking he fell short. The foreman is shocked. Kurt repaired a huge section, even managing high spots using bizarre methods. He's baffled, but can't deny the results. Kurt says he only plans to work for a week. The foreman is happy and gives him some pay, promising the rest later. Kurt earns more money in 1 day than he ever did with the heroes. He continues to work diligently. Suddenly, the foreman fires Kurt. Not because he's bad, but because he's too good and taking jobs away from others. The foreman believes Kurt's abilities are S or even SSS class and encourages him to go to the capital. He gives Kurt severance pay. Kurt misunderstands and thinks he's been fired again for being useless. He returns to the agency to tell Sel, the receptionist. At that moment, a girl argues with a different receptionist. She's trying to hire underage minors, but offers no upfront pay. Sel says the girl should find investors, but she explains she'll lose her mine if she doesn't pay taxes soon. Kurt volunteers for the mining job, saying he has experience. Sel warns he might not get paid. The girl protests. She wanted a dwarf, not a scrawny kid. But since she can't afford dwarves, she reluctantly agrees to hire Kurt. Sel watches them leave and feels bad for Kurt. As she daydreams, her colleague alerts her that the bank has transferred money. Sel is shocked to see the payment from the foreman is not just 50 silver, but 200 gold. Along with a recommendation. She remembers Kurt struggling slightly with the mana-testing sandbags and realizes they were special, only heavy if you had a lot of mana. Sel begins to question, is Kurt really just an ordinary boy? Meanwhile, Kurt and the girl, Yulia, arrive at her mining camp. Kurt notices there's only 1 tent. Yulia says the tent is big enough for both of them. Kurt, embarrassed, says he won't be able to sleep next to such a cute girl. Yulia thought Kurt was just another smooth talker when he called her cute. But when she saw his honesty, she softened and tossed him a potato. Not fancy, but for Kurt, it was a rare taste of kindness. To Kurt, even a plain boiled potato felt like a feast, especially because someone finally sat and ate with him, not like his old team, who never treated him as one of their own. When bedtime came, Yulia nonchalantly slipped under the covers in her underwear. Kurt, flustered and too honorable to stay, made his escape to a tent outside. Yulia had been faking sleep all along. She dressed that way to test Kurt's character. His respectful retreat confirmed what she hoped. He was the real deal. In the morning, Yulia found Kurt asleep under a tree, and her torn coat miraculously repaired. She started wondering just how many skills this guy had tucked up his sleeve. With no clear plan, Yulia wanted to dig and hope for the best. Kurt, however, offered something better than blind luck, actual mining knowledge. Kurt's skills weren't just talk. He pinpointed a gem-rich spot on the mountain in minutes, like he had treasure sense built into his brain. Elisha saw riches in the raw gems, but Kurt insisted they weren't ready to sell, because converting them into magic crystals would multiply their value. With a flick of magic, Kurt transformed a gem into a crystal instantly, something even master mages took an hour to do. He did like it was nothing. Elisha took the crystals to the capital, where her old friend Mimiko realized they were supercharged with mana, each worth 10 gold coins. Jackpot. 500 gold total. Mimiko wanted exclusive rights to these crystals and begged to know the creator. Elisha played it cool, no names without permission. Mimiko upped the stakes. Offer the boy a noble title, a lab, a salary, anything to secure his talent. Elisha promised to pass the message along. When Elisha returned, Kurt had casually built a house. Ignoring the absurdity, she shared the kingdom's generous offer. To her disbelief, Kurt declined. He didn't want to be above others, and deep down, still hoped to reunite with the teammates who kicked him out. Ganova and team were getting wrecked by a plant monster. With no Kurt, no firepower, and no proper healing, they were a mess. Kurt, now fully Team Elisha, cheerfully offered to fetch more gems. She worried about him burning out, but he insisted he was fine. Though Kurt mentioned he slept 6 hours and still built a house, Elisha was stunned. Kurt misread her shock as disappointment and promised to try harder. Elisha wanted to help Kurt understand just how strong and rare he really was. But how? She decided to let his actions keep speaking. Kurt led her to a forest mining site, told her not to go deeper than 500 meters, and took off to another location. Mining magic was in motion. Elisha struck gold. Well, topaz. She handed over the earnings from Kurt's gems, but kept this one. Finally, she had something for herself. She went to check on Kurt, expecting him to overdo it. And she was right. In just hours, he'd created an entire underground tunnel system. Kurt looked disappointed. Most of what he dug up, he said, was useless. But Elisha recognized the junk, mitrin ore, as something very valuable. What Kurt really wanted was orichalcum, so rare it's practically myth. Yet he casually dug up a whole box like it was no big deal. One day, Kurt explained it was easy to get. Just dig 8 kilometers down. Elisha didn't know whether to laugh or cry at how casually he said that. With her taxes covered thanks to the topaz, Elisha declared their job done. Kurt was free to move on, but clearly his story was just getting started. Kurt hasn't been told about the money in his bank account. On his way to look for work, he meets Bandana, who says she left the Hoa Long NHAA group. After a failed mission, Ganova and his team eat at a fancy restaurant but hate the food. Ganova destroys it and leaves without paying. Bandana warns Ganova he's gone too far, but Ganova demands she force Kurt back, even by breaking his bones. Bandana steals Ganova's teleport crystal and escapes, knowing Ganova will be arrested. Hoa Long NHA has disbanded. Kurt is sad he can't rejoin Ganova. Bandana doesn't understand why he still wants to work for him, but Kurt feels loyal. Bandana says she stayed only to protect Kurt. She offers him a job with a master artisan, a prestigious role. Kurt accepts and goes to the artisan's house, but a young elf girl named Men answers. She's the assistant. Men shows him a messy kitchen and asks for help. Kurt cleans it in 30 minutes. While exploring, Kurt accidentally finds a nearly naked girl inside a room. She's not bothered by his presence. He notices a black mark on her stomach, an evil curse, and asks to examine it. The girl agrees. Kurt inspects her and offers to cook for her since her stomach seems fine. Elsewhere, Elisha and Mimiko discuss rare materials Kurt found and worry he might be kidnapped if discovered. Elisha wants to help Kurt become a master artisan and protect him as his bodyguard, though he underestimates himself. Kurt finishes cooking porridge for the cursed girl just as Men and Ophelia, the master artisan, return. They're surprised the kitchen is clean. So, Ophelia learns Kurt met the cursed girl, makes him promise to keep it secret, pays him, and tells him to come back tomorrow. She feeds the porridge to Lislot, the cursed girl, warning her to keep her identity secret. Lislot faints, but then recovers. The curse is broken. The secret group behind the curse meets and decides to take stronger action after failing to kill Lislotte. That night, Ophelia and Lislotte visit Mimiko. Lislotte reveals she's the kingdom's 3rd princess. Ophelia explains the curse was an assassination attempt to destabilize peace between kingdoms. Lislotte credits Kurt for breaking the curse with just a bowl of porridge. Elisha and Mimiko are amazed and admit they underestimated Kurt's power. They decide to reward Kurt. but first must find who cursed Lislata, narrowing suspects to 3 with access to her room. Ophelia suggests using Lislata as bait in the artisan workshop to catch the assassin. Mimiko recommends Kot play the fake master artisan and shows Ophelia his crafted crystal. Ophelia is impressed by the crystal's quality and agrees Kot is perfect for the role. The next day, Kot returns to Ophelia's house, but finds a note that she's not home. Kot demonstrates an unexpected strength by squatting and lifting 400 kilograms, surprising the others who initially think it's just a joke. Suddenly, Kot is attacked and shouts for help. The group rushes back and finds him struggling against a slim monster. Kot panics but is advised to calm down and just destroy the Slim's core to make it disappear. Kot tries stabbing the Slim's core but fails and even hurts himself. Senna steps in to kill the Slim because Kot can't handle it. Senna is surprised how bad Kot's fighting skills are, despite him saying he doesn't know how to fight. Kot apologizes for being useless, but the team reassures him that his role is only to carry, not fight. Kot is shocked his teammates aren't angry, unlike how he was treated before, and feels lucky. Kot is shocked his teammates aren't angry, unlike how he was treated before, and feels lucky to have found kind teammates. The group reaches a dark cave. Senna lights it up using glowing moss. Kot notices fresh goblin droppings nearby, which worries him since he can't even defeat a Slim, let alone goblins. Khans reassures Kot they can handle a few goblins, but warns that too many would be deadly. They move deeper into the cave and arrive at some ruins. Kot spots something odd on the wall. Senna sees a goblin and tries to kill it quickly. The goblin calls for reinforcements before Senna can kill it. The group hears a large number of goblins approaching from both front and back, trapping them. Senna asks Danzo if he has a plan, but they realize the only option is to prepare for a desperate fight. Kot finds a secret passage nearby, which could be an escape route. Despite this, they know they can't outrun the goblins, so someone must distract. Danzo and Kay signal Senna to take Kot into the secret passage and close the door. Kot is confused why Senna closes the door since Danzo and Khans are still outside. Kay explains that if everyone runs together, the goblins will overwhelm them. Danzo and Kay will lure the goblins away to buy time. Kot doesn't want to abandon his teammates, but Senna insists they can't come back. Senna admits she doesn't want to leave her team, but her fighting skills are average and Kot can't fight, so coming back would only slow down Danzo and Khans. Senna says she trusts Danzo and Kay to survive, though she knows it's unlikely. They expect to die but feel honored to sacrifice for the team. Senna tells Kot they must leave immediately, so she lights more glowing moss to find a secret exit. Senna is shocked to discover the secret passage is actually the boss's chamber, where they're trapped with an iron dragon. Meanwhile in town, Lislot wants to find Kot and asks Ulyssia to take her to his inn. They find Kot's room empty and overhear someone say Kot went on a mission to the northeast cave. Ulyssia tries to find who said that, but finds no one and is confused. The info seems true because Kot is indeed in the northeast cave and might be in danger. Ulyssia explains the area was a goblin training ground, so surviving goblins could be nesting there. Ulyssia suggests Lislata stay behind while she helps Kot, but Lislata insists on coming along. Ulyssia worries bringing the princess into a monster cave is dangerous. Lislot says she's trained in magic and can protect herself. Ulyssia reluctantly agrees. They head to the cave and notice fresh glowing moss, indicating someone recently passed by. Lislot enhances her senses and surprises Ulyssia by sniffing the ground like a dog to find Kot's scent. Having spent some time with Kot earlier, Lislot remembers his scent and quickly picks up his trail. She hears fighting nearby and alerts Ulyssia, guiding her to help quickly. Danzo and Khans have been fighting goblins stubbornly, but can't hold on much longer. Just as they are about to be overwhelmed, Ulyssia arrives and quickly kills the goblins. Inside the secret chamber, Senna feels hopeless and apologizes to Kot for dragging him into danger. Kot reassures her, saying he's dealt with many monsters like this before. Kot attacks the Iron Dragon, severing its tail and limbs with ease. Senna is shocked that Kot, who couldn't kill a Slim, is now defeating a dragon so easily. Kot finds it normal to fight golems like that and doesn't understand Senna's surprise. Ulyssia arrives at the chamber and finds Kot standing among the dragon's dismembered body. Kot is happy to see her and asks her to rescue his friends who might still be in danger. Ulyssia says she already saved Danzo and Khans. They are injured but safe. With everyone safe, they gather in the chamber to discuss what to do next. First, Khans and Danzo thank everyone. C saves everyone from danger. Ulyssia says there's no need to thank her because she has something important to discuss with Kurt. While Kurt is carrying parts of a dragon's corpse, Ulyssia invites him to join her soon-to-open crafting workshop. Kurt is hesitant due to his current team. Khans encourages Kurt to accept the offer since it's a rare opportunity. Everyone agrees, and Kurt accepts. Ulyssia adds that she needs adventure adventurers to protect the workshop and asks Kurt and the others if they're interested. They all eagerly agree. The atmosphere is cheerful, and Kay suggests a party when they return to town. Ulisha reminds Kurt to get his skills re-evaluated at the Adventurers Guild. A few hours later, Kurt meets Royal Mage Mimiko at the guild for a non-combat skill assessment. She's heard impressive things about him. Mimiko initially gives him a B rank, but it's a cover. His actual skills are 3S rank, and he has more mana than anyone she has ever met. She feels lucky to have done the evaluation herself, as the truth would have been a national disaster if exposed, possibly even leading to witness elimination. Unfortunately, Senna overhears everything. The group departs on a carriage arranged by Ulisha using her crafting master privileges. They couldn't teleport since the destination is too remote. Ulisha explains that the town they're headed to was originally a military base to defend against demons. It's now a strategic defense point. They're heading there to build the new crafting workshop. Kurt feels unworthy, but the group reassures him of his capabilities. Senna, however, remains quiet and unsettled. Senna doesn't agree with her brother and Danzo, but says nothing to avoid conflict. Kay asks who the master craftsman is, and Ulisha dodges the question, raising suspicion. Sen notices Ulysses' strange behavior and suspects she's hiding something. They soon arrive at the city, and Kurt realizes it's where he was, once an apprentice, before being dismissed. The place hasn't progressed much since he left, but he assumes they're just using a slower method. Ulisha shows them the workshop site, currently just an empty plot of land. Ulisha explains construction hasn't started yet, and they'll stay at a hotel in the meantime. She asks Kurt to handle the construction since he's highly capable. Kurt thinks she overestimates him. He admits he built a log house easily, but a full workshop in a day is too much. Everyone agrees that building from scratch usually takes months. They're shocked when Kurt clarifies he only meant he couldn't do it in one day, but 3 days is fine. Ulisha reassures Kurt there's no pressure and asks for a material list. Kurt gives a list full of rare, expensive items like amethyst and griffin fur. Despite the cost, Ulisha agrees to provide everything and fully trusts him. The mood is like anxious parents paying tuition a third time. Senna becomes even more suspicious. Why does Kurt need rare materials for a simple building? Ulisha sees her doubt, but decides to focus on other matters. Ulisha takes the group to the hotel and leaves Kurt to start working. At the hotel, she tries to talk, but Senna interrupts. Senna reveals Kurt defeated the dragon alone and demands to know who he really is. She suspects he and Lislot are hiding something. Ulisha introduces herself as a former royal adventurer. Then she reveals Lislot is actually the kingdom's third princess, shocking everyone. Lislot doesn't explain why she hid her identity, but asks the group to keep it secret, as she and Ulisha are both influential. Senna suspects Kurt is royalty too, but he's not. Ulisha couldn't find any records of him. All they know is that his combat and non-combat skills are top tier. Kurt doesn't even know how powerful he really is. They've been lying to him, telling him his skills are just B rank to keep his true power hidden. Ulisha wants to make Kurt a crafting master, but hasn't told him yet. Senna questions why they're lying to a kid and believes he deserves the truth. Ulisha believes revealing the truth would endanger Kurt, who is too kind and naive. She wants to protect him from being exploited. Senna accuses Ulisha of being the one exploiting Kurt. She begs her brother Kans to support Kurt instead. Kans calms her down and listens further. Lislot reveals Kurt broke her curse just by cooking porridge. A powerful organization is hunting her. They picked this remote town to lure out their enemies. Kurt is so kind he helps everyone without asking, so they want to spare him the burden of the truth. Ulisha asks Danzo and Senna to protect Kurt and keep the secret. Danzo and Kay agree since they already consider Kurt a friend. Senna still has doubts since she just met Kurt, but is shocked to learn Ulisha only met him 6 days ago. She realizes how serious the situation is. Senna goes to the construction site and is stunned to see Kurt already finished digging and preparing the foundation in under an hour. Kurt thinks it's normal and says any B rank could do it, though that's clearly untrue. In his hometown, everyone was faster than him, so he thinks he's slow. Confused and overwhelmed, Senna asks if he minds working so hard for others. Kurt says it makes him happy and feel useful. He shares how he was once seen as useless and expelled from his old team, so being helpful now makes him feel proud. Senna realizes how pure-hearted Kurt is and understands why everyone wants to protect him. She's moved by his sincerity. After the meeting, Danzo secretly meets a mysterious woman. Not a romance twist, but an informant. Danzo is investigating who sabotaged their last expedition. He was certain something was wrong. It couldn't have been coincidence. He's right. The informant says a man named Biber, aka Thousand Faces, is responsible. He runs a shady business creating deadly expeditions. Another team had hired Biber to eliminate Kurt's group after they took the opportunity meant for them. It was a revenge plot. Danzo pays the informant. Biber assumed they'd all die in the dungeon, but even if it was just a power trip, Danzo is furious and ready for revenge. The team arrives at a giant villa, amazed at how lush and fruitful the plants are after just 3 days. They question how Kot managed it. Lot excitedly calls it her future home, but Yulisha reminds her it's just a workspace. Inside, Kot apologizes for the lack of hospitality. Yulisha sarcastically says none of them were prepared for the scale of the place. Kot shows them around, impressing them with every room and a magical water system using Saphia stones. Even Yulisha, experienced and strong, is shocked by Kot's abilities. Kot reassures them the water system will last a year, no matter the usage. Lot leaps onto a bed made from griffin feathers and comments that it smells like Kot, causing an awkward moment. Then Kot takes them to the most important room, the Grand Master's office. Kot asks when the Grand Master will arrive. Yulisha, not wanting to reveal the truth, vaguely says later. When asked where his own room is, Kot says he'll sleep in the kitchen like a servant. The others insist he use the Grand Master's room for now. Kot refuses, and the group spends 2 hours begging him. He finally agrees, leaving everyone exhausted. Yulisha remembers that Lotta is still vulnerable to curses and asks Kot if he can set up a protective barrier, but he can't. Luckily, Yulisha still has protective talismans from Mimiko. She spends the night placing them around the house, especially near Lotta's room. While Yulisha is placing the talismans, Lotta thinks her prince has come and runs out, only to be disappointed it's Yulisha. Yulisha is also annoyed by Lotta's fantasies. The next morning, Lotta comes down seductively pretending to help cook, but is again disappointed. The smell of toast wakes everyone else up. Kot built an oven to bake daily and prepare tea. Everyone is impressed by the delicious breakfast, but Kot isn't at the table. Yulisha finds him outside, removing all the protective talismans. She rushes to stop him, but it's too late. Most are already gone. Even Mimiko's enchanted charms, supposedly unremovable, were wiped off easily by Kot. Yulisha lies, saying the talismans were just kids' scribbles, and naive Kot believes her. Now the group is again worried about how to protect Lotta from curses until Mimiko arrives. Meanwhile, the Bishop Chistan, who enjoys pizza for breakfast, kicks Marlfish out of the church for being part of a chaotic adventure, especially since their leader Golova is now imprisoned. Marlfish begs to stay, admitting she accidentally destroyed a restaurant with lightning magic but blames the food. Her arrogance irritates Chistan. Despite her flaws, Marlfish is a powerful asset. Chistan offers her a final chance. If she completes one mission, he'll promote her to priestess. He gives her cursed wine from an enemy empire and demands she drink it. Trusting him, she drinks, and he reveals a wicked grin. The wine was cursed. Chistan orders Marlfish to assassinate Princess Lislotte. She's horrified, but it's too late. The curse forces her body to reject all food except water. She will die in a month unless Chistan lifts the curse, and only he has the power to do so. She has no choice but to obey. Marlfish lies unconscious before Demon Lord. Based on classic villain tropes, it's implied Chistan may be a demon himself, or even the final boss. Back at the villa, Yulisha wonders why the enemies haven't tried cursing Lotta again. She suspects either they can't locate them, or Kot's cooking somehow neutralizes the curses. She shifts focus to Mimiko and Ophelia, who are now in the city setting up traps to hunt down the enemy. While serving food, Kot unintentionally reassures Lotta that the entire villa is now protected by a massive anti-curse barrier. Kot designed the barrier to only make attackers glow rather than harm them. Just then, a hidden enemy casts a powerful curse on Lotta, but they light up like a firefly instead. Ophelia rushes to tell Mimiko about the incident. Meanwhile, Kot invites Lotte on a walk and shopping trip, not to buy things, but to get her some fresh air. Lotte declines, not explaining that she doesn't feel safe outside the barrier. Meanwhile, at the city gate, General Ors senses dark energy approaching. Aures fears a monster invasion and shares concerns with Deputy General Generic. Generic reassures him the walls are stronger this time. Mimiko, Ophelia, and Yulissia identify the dark mage who cursed Lotte before. Sadly, they can't interrogate him because his allies already killed him. Ophelia is impressed by C's power, especially since the mage's glowing corpse continues to emit light. She starts thinking someone like C could have found the enemy within a day, but Yulissia doesn't want C in danger, so they decide to handle things themselves. Mimiko takes on the mission to investigate the surrounding area and warns to stop Lotta from leaving the mansion as the enemy is confirmed to be in the city. The emergency alarm rings across the city. Generic and Or are informed about a monster attack. Mages light up the city walls, revealing thousands of undead heading toward them. Mimiko uses a magic detection spell and suspects Lotte is the target of the mastermind. Ice takes command of the city's defense and tells Generic to evacuate civilians. Generic wants to fight beside R because he believes their chances of survival improve together. Suddenly, skeletons vanish after crashing into the city walls. Mimiko gets reports from her clones and informs Yulisha, who remembers C recently reinforced the northern and western walls. That may be one of his VIP level abilities. Even Aris starts suspecting the same boy is responsible for this miracle. It turns out Marlfist summoned the undead. She used up all her magic, but the demon controlling her is not satisfied and forces her to use her life energy to summon. Marlfist reveals Tristan made a pact with a high-ranking demon to assassinate the princess, and now that same demon is torturing her at the ruins deep in the forest. As the city battle intensifies, Yulisha prioritizes Lotta's safety and checks on her and C at the workshop. She informs them about the escalating attack and the monsters vanishing when touching the walls. She suspects it's C's doing. Everyone is shocked except C, who treats it casually, comparing it to something mundane from his hometown. Yulisha thinks of using the magic stones C collected earlier to divert the monsters from the main energy source. She asks C to stay behind to protect Lislot, while she goes to destroy the enemy source of power in the ruins. Though C wants to join, she insists he protect Lotte. C mistakenly believes Yulisha left him behind because he's weak. When he follows her and protests, she gently tells him there are still monsters lurking and she needs him to protect Lotte. Relieved to know he's needed, C feels better and stays behind. Yulisha retrieves the magic stones and heads to the Knight's headquarters. She meets General Aur, introduces Mimiko and Ophelia, and Aur realizes the princess is in the city. He offers to send knights to protect her, but Yulisha declines. Yulisha proposes using a distraction team at the city gates while she infiltrates the ruins to destroy the source. Aur questions what weapon she'll use and what army supports her. She shows him the magic stone. He is shocked and tries to stop her, calling it suicide, but she insists the plan will work. Aris decides to accompany Yulisha to the ruins while Generic stays to lure the monsters. Though Generic hesitates, Aur convinces him. Before parting, they perform a farewell ritual involving drinking and smashing a cup, but they instead toss it away with hope they'll survive and drink again. Back at the workshop, C feels useless as others are fighting. He decides to forge a sword, remembering a village elder's words about a stone that reflects oneself. Inspired by Danzo's blade, he tries to recreate it. At the ruins, Yulisha holds a magic stone and prays it works. She throws it after warning everyone to cover their eyes. Miraculously, all monsters vanish. Aur is shocked and asks if it's a secret weapon. It turns out it's C's personal tool. They ride into the ruins to deal with remaining monsters. C examines his newly forged sword and finds it terrible, feeling ashamed of how useless it is. He ranks it very low in his own grading system. While he's disappointed, Lot enters and finds the sword beautiful and magical, which excites her. C offers the sword to Lotte, and she happily accepts it. But C notices her smile is forced and suspects something's wrong. He asks her directly, and she admits someone is trying to kill her and that she's the reason for all the trouble. C feels sad, not because he has to protect her, but because he feels powerless to save her. He recalls the enemy Golova once appeared in the western ruins and deduces that's where Yulisha is heading. He looks at Lotte, heart heavy with guilt for not being able to protect someone so special to him. Lotte is unaware of how important she is to C and is happy, but C quickly brings her back to reality by reminding her that every team member is equally special. She confesses that she feels useless due to her weakness. Since both feel useless, C suggests they try to become more helpful and proposes going to the western ruins. Lot reminds him of the monsters guarding the city, but C says they must carve their own path and even imagines a secret route. Meanwhile, at the ruins, Yulisha senses something bad and wants to retreat. Will C arrive in time to help, or will disaster strike? While preparing, Lotte notices something strange about the sword. Remembering what C said, she raises the sword to activate its magic, but nothing happens. Just then, C calls from another room saying it's time to go. Lotte turns and realizes someone has secretly approached her from behind. Meanwhile, the battle with the undead escalates. Yulisha desperately asks Aur how far they are from the ruins. He encourages her, saying they're close. Yulisha is exhausted, the fight draining her energy. Still, she is grateful to Generic for reducing the undead's numbers. Without him, she and Aur might have been overwhelmed. However, she knows Generic's team can't hold on much longer. The Demon King, bored, decides to personally confront Yulia's group, hoping they will be worthy opponents. As Yulia's group enters a corridor, skeletons rise from the ground. They suspect this is the source of undead and clear them with magic crystals. The Demon King appears before them, smiling maliciously. Yulicia recognizes the Demon King and, hiding her fear, tells Auret that defeating him will end the undead threat. Yulicia attacks the Demon King with a magic crystal, but he is unharmed due to his infinite lives. Auret tries to silence the Demon King with a sword strike, but the Demon King lets the attack go through and instantly heals. They realize the Demon King is truly immortal. The Demon King is secretly draining Marlfus's life force to heal himself. He mocks Yulicia and Auret by showing their comrades fighting outside and boasting about endlessly spawning undead. He summons 2 giant undead monsters and threatens to destroy the city gate and crush the defending adventurers. Yulia and Auret are pushed to their limits and launch a coordinated attack, cutting off the Demon King's head. The Demon King calmly reattaches his head and smiles cruelly, threatening to kill Princess Lislot to break their spirits. Marlfus knows destroying the magic seal binding her is the only way to survive, but she is weak and hungry. Marlfus hears Kurt's voice and is surprised when Kurt and Lislot appear, revealing they dug a tunnel to avoid undead. Kurt is surprised to see Marlfus, but says nothing. Marlfus assumes Kurt suspects her in the assassination plot. Kurt asks if Lislot knows Marlfus. Kurt recalls their past and calls Marlfus a nun, which she corrects. Kurt suspects Marlfus is targeting Lislot out of anger, but Marlfus is forced into it and does not explain. Lislot realizes Bishop Shistan is the true mastermind behind the plot. Kurt treats the situation lightly and gently scolds Marlfus, telling her not to harm Lislot. Kurt asks where Yulicia is. Confused, she hasn't arrived yet. Marlfus says Yulicia is upstairs, not mentioning she is fighting the Demon King. Lislot volunteers to find Yulicia and tells Kurt to break the magic seal, showing a sword Kurt made for her. Marlfus silently worries Kurt is foolish to let Lislot face the Demon King alone. Kurt begins cleaning the magic seal casually, confusing Marlfus. The Demon King senses his magic weakening as Yulicia attacks. He dodges for the first time, signaling something has changed. The Demon King realizes his mana is draining and wonders if the magic seal was purified. Unknown to him, Kurt has joined the fight by purifying the magic seal. The Demon King knows he must stop the enemies before they use another magic crystal. Before Yulicia and Auret can attack again, Lislot appears. The Demon King considers his mission complete and attacks Lislot, who collapses. Yulicia is devastated seeing Lislot fall. Butterflies gather around Lislot's body, and she reappears behind the Demon King, revealing the fallen figure was an illusion. The illusion, created by magic stored in her sword, tricked the Demon King. The Demon King is shocked and tries to attack again, but is fooled once more. Lislot destroys the magic crystal they need to break, causing the Demon King to vanish. With the Demon King's disappearance, all monsters vanish too. Everyone rejoices. Marlfus is stunned. The undead are gone, and amazed that Kurt's group defeated the Demon King. Yulicia recovers and asks why Lislot left her safe place. Lislot admits her mistake and apologizes, saying she couldn't sit idle while others suffered for her. Yulia urges Lislot not to apologize and says she saved the city. Auret kneels to show gratitude. Lislot promises to reward all who fought for her, but Auret refuses any reward. Quo asks for wine for the team, revealing he's a true drink lover. Marlfish suffers from a severe stomachache due to a lingering curse. Despite the broken magic circle, she feels the curse hasn't disappeared and fears she might log out, die. Quo offers her food, and though she worries it might make her vomit, she accepts because it's the last meal he cooks before possibly dying. Marlfish doesn't realize Quote is not an ordinary kid. He's actually the one who silently protected the team all along. After eating, she feels the poison vanish and tears up, understanding that the quick healing of their wounds was thanks to Quat's care, not just luck. She realizes she made a huge mistake underestimating him and apologizes. Quo misunderstands her apology as one for putting scrolls in Lada's room. Suddenly, Lode and Ulicia arrive with soldiers to arrest Marlfish. Quo shouts for mercy, but he believes those who err deserve punishment. When Marlfish asks if he's pleading for her, he says no, but promises to bring her food in prison. Lot reassures her while Ulicia smiles quietly. Marlfish is amazed that these two kids, Lotte and Ulicia, saved her life, confirming their status as a master crafter and a great princess. She invites them back to the workshop. They hold hands, and Quo feels incredibly lucky for the first time in his life, having real friends who care, a home, and feeling useful. That night, Quo prepares a feast for the knights, but everyone eats eat silently. They aren't disappointed in him. They're too busy enjoying the delicious food. Ares notices and explains, making Quo very happy. Lot introduces Ore, a knight managing the city well, who praises Quot's cooking and says his wounds healed faster after eating it. Quot modestly claims it's normal for good food to heal. Meanwhile, fireworks light up the sky for the victory celebration, and everyone enjoys the night. Elsewhere, Shistan meets Margrave again, plotting something unclear, but since Quo is now a master crafter, his plans may backfire. Flashback to Quat's childhood in the secret village H, where he meets Hindigas, who is forbidden by her father to talk to villagers. They bond over mutual loneliness and become friends. Quo takes Hindigas to see the 7 colored flowers on his mechanical pet golem's back. Hindigas eats some poisonous berries, but Quo quickly crafts an antidote, saving her. Unti, back to present, Quo wakes on a carriage with Elisha and adventurers en route to a village suffering from a drought caused by a dried-up river. The village elder says the neighboring village refuses to share water despite negotiation. They seek help from the magic workshop. Elisha goes to persuade the neighboring village, but finds the reservoir is also nearly dry. Suddenly, 2 villagers report something strange on the hill. Elisha discovers Quo and Senna staring at a huge, newly appeared water reservoir. Senna explains it just formed minutes ago. Quot reveals he accidentally uncovered an underground water source while trying to quench the old man's thirsty birds. Both village elders thank Elisha and Quo for saving their villages. The group heads back with bird eggs to celebrate with a feast. Lot reports to the Lord about the zombie attack. Meanwhile, Margrave tries to manipulate Lotta to join his side, attempting to use political influence to control the workshop's town, hinting at making Quo the vice governor. Lot cleverly avoids revealing Quot's identity or the plan. Margrave pressures about appointing the master crafter as vice governor. Auret supports the idea, unaware of Quot's real situation. Lot objects, but eventually admits Quot's exceptional talents, accidentally hinting at their need to keep his identity secret. Margrave declares the appointment inevitable. But back at the workshop, everyone is anxious about exposing Quo as the master crafter, especially since even he doesn't know yet. Elisha suggests finding a fake master crafter to keep things smooth, but that's nearly impossible as the knights know Quot well. Lot strongly opposes replacing Quot, saying no one else can be like him anywhere in the world. They humorously discuss Quot's whereabouts and antics. Elisha teases someone named Kot, who is busy taking care of an egg that is about to hatch. Elisha worries about what will come out of the egg. Soon after, they get a call that the egg has hatched. Mimi is overwhelmed with reports at work and complains to Opelia. Opelia tells her that the Bishop Chistan was murdered and suggests that the church is covering it up, blaming someone else. Opelia asks Mimi what she plans to do about Marlfus and if she wants to kill him. Mimi wants to kill Marlfus, but is hesitant because Kot promised to visit him in prison, and harming Marlfus would anger Kot. Their complicated past relationship is now the only thing keeping Mimi alive. Mimi receives a threatening letter about losing half her soul and the hatched egg. The egg has hatched a baby girl who behaves like a 3-year-old. Elisha warns Kot that this is not a normal child, but a monster. She demands to take the baby, threatening to destroy its life. Kot refuses, promising to take full responsibility. The baby calls Elisha Ma, Mom, softening her heart. She imagines a future with the child. Lot also holds the baby and is touched when the baby calls her Ma. Senna catches the baby when it falls and is also called Sister by the baby. Lot wants to be called Ma by the baby too. Kot insists there is no reason to kill the baby since it can be raised well despite its demonic nature. Elisha and Lotta argue over what to name the baby until the baby wakes and calms their fight by holding their hand. They decide the baby's name doesn't matter, focusing on how the baby brings them together. Kot suggests naming her Akur, meaning the land where people gather, which everyone agrees on. The baby is happy with her new name. Despite the warmth, Elisha remains suspicious of the baby and secretly sends the baby's hair and saliva to Mimiko for testing. She believes the baby's fate depends on the test results. The next day, Kot prepares a room for Akuri, which looks more like a magical cage. The room is secured with magic, preventing the baby from escaping. They also arrange for Lotta and Akuri to stay apart until they receive Mimiko's report. Elisha asks Senna to care for Akuri while she and Kot handle other matters. Akuri tries to sneak along, but is caught and returned in. While traveling, Elisha and Kot discuss their concerns about about Akuri. Kot worries about whether they are making the right decisions and what to do if the baby is truly dangerous. Ulysses interrupts, saying no one knows what the child will become, so no one is completely right or wrong. An old man interrupts, urging them to continue their mission to save the town. He calls Kot a brave warrior and Akuri his follower. They promise to do their best. The old man's daughter explains that her father has memory issues and tells them not to mind his ramblings. The woman thanks them for coming and says she sent the help request. She praises Kot's family. Suddenly, Akuri calls Kot Papa and Ulysses Mom, embarrassing Ulysses and making her blush. Kot feels insulted and vows to work harder. But Kot asks the woman about their next steps. She explains their pig farm is struggling because the pigs are weak and won't eat. Akuri tries feeding the pigs grass, and Kot observes carefully. Kot realizes the pigs are suffering from heat stroke. He offers to prepare special food to help them recover, and the woman agrees. She takes her father for a walk while Kot looks for Ulysses, who is still standing quietly. Her face was red, but not from romance. She was embarrassed because she wanted to make up with Ulysses, not dream of a future with Kurt, who completely misread the situation. Kurt prepared food and fed the pigs, while Ulysses scolded herself for fantasizing and insisted her feelings were professional, not romantic. Despite convincing herself otherwise, Ulysses felt flustered when looking at Kurt. Suddenly, a dragon landed near them, alarming her. Kurt explained the dragon was harmless and just came to eat, something normal in his village. Ulysses found that hard to believe, but accepted it. Akuri was amazed by the dragon and wanted to pet it. Meanwhile, Ulysses sensed blood and found a guard unconscious nearby. Something stirred in the bushes. Kurt prepared to defend. As fighting sounds erupted, Ulysses urgently told him to escape with Akuri. An enemy woman appeared, demanding the child. Kurt misinterpreted her vague speech and asked if she was hunting the dragon. Ulysses knew it was more serious and told Kurt to run. The dragon flew him and Akuri away. Ulysses was impressed by Kurt's bond with the dragon. Ulysses confronted the attacker but was quickly overwhelmed. She questioned what the child referred to, Akuri or the dragon. Though the attacker overpowered her, Ulysses fought back with a magic crystal. Meanwhile, a farm family heard the explosion nearby. The attacker re-emerged, stronger and now with horns. She was a demon. The old man's warning about the demon lord might have been true. The demon revealed knowledge of Ulysses' past team. Unarmed and exhausted, Ulysses accepted defeat, only wishing Kurt was safe. Just as she gave up, Kurt reappeared. She was shocked and wondered if he came with power, but quickly realized he was still weak. The dragon had simply dropped him off. He was just a regular guy, still not equipped for battle. Ulysses asked why he risked his life. Kurt admitted it was impulsive, but he wanted to escape with her together. Their emotional moment was cut short when pigs stampeded in, distracting the demon. They escaped by riding a pig. Ulysses asked again if Kurt's behavior was normal. Kurt said no, but he couldn't watch someone precious to him suffer. This hit Ulysses emotionally. Kurt clarified that Ulysses was important as a friend. She felt both touched and disappointed, unsure of her own feelings. Just then, flames erupted. The pigs vanished. Kurt and Ulysses were thrown down. The demon was back. Ulysses took Kurt's sword and prepared to fight, motivated by the trust he showed in coming back for her. She tried her strongest technique, knowing she had never succeeded before. It failed, but she wasn't harmed. Ulysses saw Akuri above her and realized the demon held back the flames. Could Akuri be the child the demon wanted? Ulysses collapsed, confused. The demon left. Kurt rushed to heal her, and Akuri checked if she was okay. Ulysses woke up, baffled by how Akuri got on her head. Kurt said Akuri never jumped. She must have teleported. Teleportation magic wasn't developed in their world. Akuri did it without tools. When asked to repeat it, she said she couldn't. A pig fetched them. They found sick pigs around. Kurt healed them while Ulysses helped herd the others. Someone mistook Kurt as Ulysses' husband. Ulysses didn't correct the woman. She said a villager helped Kurt, when in fact, it was the dragon. As the dragon prepared to leave, it called Kurt over to show him something. Kurt followed it while the others rode back. On the way back, Ulysses asked if Akuri neutralized the flames. Akuri said no, it wasn't her. Could the demon have spared them because of Akuri? Ulysses' mind filled with more questions. She knew she must investigate Akuri further. Suddenly, the dragon returned with Kurt and the demon woman. Kurt explained what happened. Kurt found the demon injured. Despite her being an enemy, he gave her an antidote to help. The demon mocked him for help helping an enemy. Kurt said he didn't see her as one since she held back her attack. Kurt still believed she deserved consequences, so he laced the antidote with sleeping potion to keep her out for 3 days. The demon was shocked. Kurt loaded her into a vehicle, just as Yulisha saw her again. Miik and Mimiko go to the basement to inject the demon woman to wake her. She refuses to talk, claiming a warrior doesn't speak unless necessary. Miik provokes her, causing her to lash out, but her magic is neutralized by the prison's barrier. Realizing she's helpless, Miik starts interrogating her about allies, but she only agrees to talk to the one who defeated her. Kurt is called in. He greets her politely and asks if she's okay. She tries to manipulate him by pretending the chains hurt, but Kurt declines to help due to strict orders. The demon woman brings up Hindigas, shocking Kurt and Yulisha. Kurt explains Hindigas was a girl he kissed as a teen. She had horns like the demon woman. The demon confirms it's the same person and reveals her true goal, to rescue Hindigas, who is imprisoned by the Marquis Tychon. Yulisha demands to know why the demon attacked Akuri. The demon woman says she was investigating Tychon and saw Akuri use a rare teleportation spell, so she tried to steal it to rescue Hindigas. To prove her story, the demon shows a pendant with the griffin symbol, something Hindigas once wore. Kurt also confirms that a dagger Yulisha carries was a gift from Hindigas. Everyone, including Mimiko, agrees to help rescue Hindigas, but they won't release the demon woman yet. Kurt promises to save Hindigas, and the demon finally shares her real name. Sei Akuri suddenly shows up, gets scolded, and tearfully apologizes. She just wanted to join the group. Kurt asks Mimiko for help since he can't do it alone. Lut surprisingly brings out a map of Tychon's mansion and history records. They learn about a mysterious locked room in the mansion where food is regularly taken, most likely where Hindigas is kept. Sei confirms she saw the room but couldn't get in due to tight security. Only Tychon has the key. Lot proposes a clever plan. Use illusion magic to trick Tychon into thinking a thief is breaking in, so he'll unlock the room himself. Luckily, a festival is happening soon, giving them a chance to enter the city. Lot creates an illusion of the master craftsman, Rikuto, to distract Tychon. They decide Kurt must come too, but need a reason since his identity is a secret. Lotte suggests inviting Kurt to tour the festival and try food as an excuse. This makes both girls, Lotte and Yulisha, wonder, is this a mission or a date? They play rock, paper, scissors for the chance. Lotte wins. The group arrives at the inn. Rikuto makes an excuse to rest, and Yulisha goes to investigate Tychon. Kurt feels useless as no one gives him a mission. He offers to help Yulisha, but Lotte stops him. This is their special time. She convinces him the day will be fun, and they can walk around, watch shows, like a real date. Lotte imagines a future with Kurt. House, kids. Kurt agrees to stay and lifts Akuri so she won't get lost in the crowd, like a sweet family scene. Kurt buys fruit juice only for the girls, like a selfless dad. Lotta's heart races when Kurt drinks from the same spot she did, like an indirect kiss. She quickly finishes her juice and keeps the bottle. Kurt doesn't get why. She lies, saying she loves the local fruit, clearly cherishing the moment. The narrator wonders if the main character has ever truly experienced many festivals before, since he's traveled a lot, but mostly as a helper in an adventurers group. The main character expresses his desire to fully enjoy the festival today, and also wants Akuri to be happy. Lot promises to make the day wonderful, especially since she plans to confess her feelings to him after the outing. They visit the market, join games, and both succeed in contests, with the goal of having a joyful day together. Lot values this moment deeply and wants to confess her feelings, aiming for a perfect ending. Because the festival is too crowded for a confession, Lot takes them to a quiet park to make the moment more private. The main character seems distracted, looking at a building, which Lot notices when she tries to approach him. She realizes he's worried about Hindigas and gently asks if that's the case. He insists he's not worried because others promised to rescue Hindigas, and worrying would mean he doesn't trust them. Still, he feels powerless because he can't help while others are busy. Lot reminds him of his important contributions, like healing her and building a magic workshop quickly. However, he downplays his efforts, thinking anyone else would do the same, and healing isn't a big deal. Lot gets frustrated by his attitude and thinks about how to comfort him. She tells him she really likes him, not as a confession, but to express that everyone loves and cares for him. She explains that everyone at the magic workshop is there because they like him, and that's why they're trying to save Hindigas. He begins to understand and admits he likes everyone too, feeling useful, even though he sometimes feels like a failure. Her words deeply touch his heart. Their heartfelt talk is interrupted by Akuri, who says she's hungry. He picks up Akuri, who looks at him affectionately. This would have been the perfect moment for Lotte to confess, but she doesn't. Still, just seeing him smile is enough for her.